There's a moment that happens almost every time an American moves to Australia. This isn't a video about Australia being cheaper. It's about something more specific. 10 things Australians have simply decided aren't worth paying for, while Americans hand over money for the exact same thing without a second thought. By the end of this video, you'll understand why so many Americans who spend real time in Australia go home and start asking uncomfortable questions about their own spending habits. Let's get into it. 1. Bottled water. In most Australian homes, restaurants, and offices, tap water is the default. It's treated to a high standard, and nobody thinks twice about drinking it straight from the sink. In the US, bottled water is a massive industry, with many households buying cases of it weekly, partly out of habit and partly out of real concerns about local tap water quality in certain areas. Australians watching an American buy a $2 bottle of water at a gas station often find it genuinely strange. 2. Tipping. This is the big one. In Australia, tipping isn't expected. Waitstaff are paid a legal minimum wage, regardless of how many tables they serve, so a night out doesn't come with a mental tipping calculator attached to the bill. In the US, tipping culture has expanded so far that many people now feel obligated to tip at self-checkout kiosks. Australians visiting the US often describe tipping as the single most stressful part of eating out. 3. Bank account fees. Basic transaction accounts in Australia are typically free with no monthly maintenance fee, as long as certain simple conditions are met. Plenty of Americans, meanwhile, pay monthly account-keeping fees just to have a checking account fees that quietly add up to hundreds of dollars a year for something that costs Australians nothing. 4. Ambulance anxiety. While ambulance costs do exist in parts of Australia, several states include ambulance cover automatically through Medicare levies or state-based schemes, meaning many Australians never see a bill after an emergency call-out. In the US, an ambulance ride can cost well over $1,000, leading to a well-known phenomenon where people hesitate to call one, even in an emergency, purely because of the price tag. 5. Basic doctor visits. Australia's Medicare system means many standard GP visits come at little to no direct cost, especially when a doctor bulk bills the visit. Compare that to the US, where even a simple checkup without insurance can run into hundreds of dollars, and the fear of that bill genuinely stops some Americans from going to the doctor early, when a problem is still small and manageable. 6. School lunches. Many Australian public schools have canteens with reasonably priced healthy food options, and there's no cultural pressure around elaborate lunch spending. In parts of the US, some school lunch debt has become such a widespread issue that entire charity funds exist just to cover unpaid school meal balances for kids. 7. Bagged ice. This sounds small, but it says a lot. Buying a bag of ice is a genuinely strange concept to most Australians. Home freezers with built-in ice makers are standard, so the idea of driving to a store specifically to buy frozen water rarely comes up. In the US, bagged ice is a billion-dollar industry, especially around holidays and barbecues. 8. Excessive packaging and single-use convenience. Many Australian supermarkets have shifted heavily toward reusable bags, and there's a strong general cultural pushback against unnecessary single-use plastic. Americans, by contrast, often encounter excessive individually wrapped portions and convenience packaging that Australians frequently comment on as wasteful the first time they shop in the US. 9. Extended warranties on cheap electronics. In Australia, consumer law requires that products work as advertised for a reasonable period, regardless of whether you bought an extended warranty, meaning Australians are far less likely to be upsold a $30 protection plan on a $50 toaster. In the US, extended warranty upselling is a huge point-of-sale revenue stream, and plenty of shoppers pay for coverage on items that would be covered anyway or simply aren't worth insuring. 10. Paying to access public beaches or parks. Nearly all beaches in Australia are free and open to the public, with no entry fee, parking fee, or beach club upsell required just to sit on the sand. In parts of the US, some coastal towns charge for beach parking, beach access passes, or even chair rental just to use public shoreline, something that consistently surprises Australian travelers. So there they are, 10 things that Australians simply don't think to spend money on. Not because they're cheap, but because the systems, laws, and culture around them were built differently from the ground up. None of these are life-changing amounts of money on their own. A bottle of water here, a tip there, a bag device on a Saturday. But add them all up over a year, and you start to see how much of everyday American spending isn't really a choice. It's just the water everyone's swimming in. So normal that nobody questions it anymore. That's really what this video is about. Not judging anyone's spending habits, but noticing how much of what we consider normal is actually just one country's decision, not a law of nature. Now I want to hear from you. If you've spent time in both countries, tell me what I missed in the comments, because I promise you, there are more of these than 10. And some of the best ones I've ever covered came directly from viewers just like you. If this video gave you something to think about, hit that subscribe button right now, because I put out a new comparison video like this every single week, and next week's topic might completely flip what you just learned. Hit the bell so you don't miss it, drop a thumbs up if you made it to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.